Let me just make sure we're doing okay with chairs and stuff. I will go ahead and mute our participants. Anne, can you hear me okay? Maybe. Okay. Thank you for being here, everybody. If we're confident that our cell phones have been silenced, why don't we go ahead and settle in for some meditation? Take care, please, to ensure that your spine is straight and relaxed. We're facing straight ahead with our head tilted slightly forward. And this serves to bring our spine perfectly into alignment. Our mouth is closed, our jaw is relaxed. And if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and softly close your eyes. And to begin, I'd like you to please gently bring your awareness to the exhalation of your breath and allow your exhalation to be just a bit longer and a bit more pronounced than your inhalation. Please feel free to experiment with pausing briefly at the bottom of each exhalation. This meditation technique will allow both your physical body and your mind to start to settle and rest, to become quiet and still. Now is not the time to reflect on events that have occurred in the past. Those events cannot be changed, undone, or relived. Nor is this the time to speculate about events that may or may not occur in the future. The future is completely uncertain. Now is the time to be fully present here in this moment. Now is the time to give yourself permission to enjoy engaging in a practice that's going to bring you a peaceful state of mind, and at the same time contribute to the creation of a peaceful world. And with that, I'd like you to please bring your awareness to the crown of your head, to your scalp in particular. And I'd like you to allow at once all of the tiny muscles and nerves that support your scalp to become loose and completely relaxed. The tiny muscles and nerves at the top of your scalp, the tiny muscles and nerves at the back of your scalp, and the sides of your scalp. Just allow these tiny muscles and nerves to at once release and become loose and deeply, deeply relaxed. please allow the tiny muscles and nerves across your forehead, the tiny muscles that support your eyebrows, and all of the muscles in your face to become soft and completely relaxed. Your facial muscles become so soft and relaxed that it might feel as though the pores of your skin are opening up now. Your mind starts to relax as your body is starting to relax. And for the remainder of our meditation this evening, I would invite you to bring your awareness not only to the words that you hear, but also to the silent gaps in between the words and in between the sentences. Please allow the muscles that support your jaw to become soft and relaxed. Just allow any tension that you might be carrying in your jaw to dissipate, to drain away, to dissolve into empty space, to dissolve into space like emptiness. Your jaw starts to feel a bit heavier now, and it takes a gentle and deliberate effort to keep your jaw from dropping open. Please allow the muscles in your neck and your throat to become soft and relaxed, as well as the muscles in your shoulders. Allow your shoulders to settle and to rest, to become soft and relaxed. And as your shoulders settle and rest, they may start to feel a bit heavier now. And this causes them to drop down into a natural, comfortable position. There's a subtle lengthening of your neck and a subtle lengthening of your spine. Please allow the muscles in your arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers to each become completely soft and completely relaxed. And your hands now might feel a bit warmer and heavier as they rest in your lap. And your mind relaxes as your body relaxes. The muscles in your chest become soft and relaxed. And your lungs are now able to perform perfectly and without effort their natural function of breathing. The muscles in your abdomen, and likewise all of the muscles in your back, all of the muscles that support your shoulder blades and your spine. Allow these muscle sets to settle and to rest, to become soft and relaxed as you drop deeper and deeper on down. And let yourself go. Allow your immune system to rest and relax, and therefore to strengthen. Your immune system is a physiological gift, a physiological miracle, actually, that functions to protect you. And for your immune system to function at an optimal level, no doing is required on your part. Nothing needs to be added. All that is asked of you is to allow, rest, and allow your immune system to do that which it has naturally evolved to do, and that is to protect you. So for the next moment or two, please do exactly that. Rest, relax, and allow. The muscles in your hips and your pelvic area become soft and relaxed, as well as the muscles in your legs, knees, calves, ankles, feet, and toes. One by one, these muscle sets become completely soft and completely relaxed. The soles of your feet, even the muscles and nerves in the soles of your feet, even the tiny muscles and nerves at the tips of your toes, release now and become soft and relaxed. Your body is both centered and settled. You're like a mountain with consciousness now, balanced, grounded, stable, with ancient awareness. Your mind relaxes completely now as your body is completely relaxed. And let yourself go. all of the problems that you experience in your life without exception arises from this confused notion of self and other. So let yourself go. Let yourself go. We can now engage in the meditation on the inner body. To accomplish this, please draw your awareness inside of your body and become aware of sensations. Sensations that may start in your hands and your feet in the form of a tingling, perhaps a lightness, perhaps a heaviness, perhaps a pulsation. No analysis is necessary. There's nothing to figure out. Just be the silent observer of these sensations and allow an even more tranquil, supple, non-conceptual state of awareness to emerge. The natural tendency of these sensations is for them to travel up into your arms and your legs, perhaps into the region of your chest, perhaps into your face and your cheeks. Just continue to be the silent observer, like a mountain with consciousness. No judgment, no labeling, no comparing, no expectation. Now, very gently, very, very gently, please redirect your awareness. Become aware again of your physical body and allow your breathing to become less shallow. Taking deeper and deeper breaths, become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of your body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside this room. Become aware again of the world that exists outside of this room. Become aware again of clouds, of blue sky beyond the clouds, of outer space beyond the blue sky. And we dedicate all of the positive energy from our meditation this evening to world peace. May all beings without exception be completely free from all forms of mental and physical suffering. May all beings without exception be happy, peaceful, contented, and free. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Welcome back, everybody. So, as promised last week, our class last Thursday, I wanted to invite an opportunity for any questions or comments that anybody might have about what we've been talking about thus far in the Ganges Mahamudra. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, non-conceptual, the difference between conceptual thought and non-conceptual awareness. Like the authenticity of our actions, of body, speech, and mind being increased or perfected almost by engaging in those actions from a place free of thought, from a place of unconditioned consciousness. In essence, that's what we've been talking about for the last couple of classes. And I've been talking so much, I haven't allowed any time, not intentionally, unintentionally didn't allow any time at the end of class for any questions or comments or stuff. So if anybody has anything, and you, Anne and Roberta, please feel free to unmute yourself if you guys have anything you'd like to share. Yeah. Okay, hearing nothing and seeing no hands. So also as promised last week, we're going to start to wade into the waters of emptiness. Emptiness, one of the most profound teachings in the Buddhist doctrine. Emptiness is also known as ultimate truth. Ultimate truth. And I was thinking this morning as I was working on my gratitude journal, making my gratitude journal entries, I was feeling grateful this morning for a lot of things. And one of the objects of my gratitude was possibilities. It just kind of came to me out of nowhere. Gratitude for possibilities, kind of infinite possibilities. And emptiness is what enables possibilities, what enables anything to be possible, really. And we'll kind of develop that thought a little bit more as we go on through the rest of our class this evening. I want you to know that my teacher gives extremely clear teachings and instructions on understanding and meditating on emptiness, and the clearest instructions I've ever encountered. And some of you might say, well, he's your guru, and you always say that about your guru. He gives the clearest instructions of all. So I guess I'll acknowledge that I am a little bit biased in that regard. And I've sort of been around the block enough times to see and seen enough presentations of emptiness to kind of be able to attest to the fact that the instructions that he has given me, and which I'm going to share with you, are as clear as anything I've ever seen. So that's good. And rest assured that everything I share with you, nothing is original. What I'm going to share with you isn't anything that I've come up with on my own. I'm kind of up here just paraphrasing what I've learned from my teacher. So I say that to say you can rely on the content, or you can have confidence in the content. So I'd like to kind of move into emptiness a little bit with an indirect route by talking about something that I think some of you are familiar with, this notion of non-duality. Non-duality. Phenomena being non-dual. Saying that object is not separate from that object. It's not the same object, and it's not separate. They're interconnected. Interconnected and non-dual are synonyms, okay? And Tilopa in the Ganges Mahamudra, which of course is the basis for what we're discussing in this series, Tilopa points to non-duality in one of the verses where he says, Tilopa says to Naropa, if you are beyond all grasping at an object and grasping at a subject, that is the monarch of all views. If there is no distraction, it is the monarch among all meditations. If there is no effort, that is the monarch among all conducts. If there is no hope and no fear, that is the final result, and the fruition has been attained or revealed. So all sorts of ways that we can approach that. And somebody might say, if there is no effort, that is the monarch among all conduct. No effort? Really? I thought some of you might say, you've said before that effort is one of the 6 perfections. And now Tilopa is saying not to have effort. We'll broach that one another day. We've only got 15 minutes to kind of go through the most profound topic. Anyways, non-duality. That object is not separate from that object. It's not the same and it's not separate. They're interconnected. And where the real significance of this comes from, and I kind of alluded to it in the meditation, is self and other. Tilopa refers to it, if you're beyond all grasping at an object and grasping at a subject, kind of the same with self and other, right? The dualistic mind says, I am separate from you. This self is separate from other. And then it follows that because I am separate from you, from other, that means that our happiness and suffering are separate from each other. They're disconnected. And not only that, your happiness comes at the expense of my happiness because they're separate, right? And therefore, you are my enemy because your happiness is coming at the expense of my happiness, and I have aversion for you. That's kind of how the thinking mind sort of goes on in this discursive way. I am separate from you. That means my happiness and suffering is separate from your happiness and suffering. In fact, your happiness comes at the expense of my happiness. Therefore, I have aversion toward you. And then conflict and aggression and war, it all arises from that confused notion of self and other. And it gets, and we see the real consequences of it when it goes from self and other to us and them, right? And it's, we've all seen the consequences of that. So I have found in my practice of emptiness and ultimate truth, I have found the notion of non-duality to be a little bit more accessible than experiencing emptiness. The emptiness of inherent existence, the emptiness of a fundamentally intrinsic aspect of a phenomenon. Emptiness enables non-dualistic view, and I'll explain how in just a minute. But I just wanted to sort of, for those of you who might have some exposure to these teachings in emptiness and non-duality, to my way of thinking, non-duality is a little teeny bit more accessible, and know that emptiness enables a non-dualistic view. And for me, there's no teaching beyond emptiness. There's nothing more to learn. It's kind of the final path beyond emptiness. So without further ado, let's get into emptiness, okay? Right? So emptiness refers to the fundamental nature in which things exist. People, places, people, other sentient beings, situations, environments, inanimate objects. Their nature, their fundamental intrinsic nature is that they are empty of inherent existence. Okay. Now, again, been around the block a few times. People often confuse emptiness and nothingness. Emptiness is not nothingness. Nothingness is kind of nihilism. Nothing exists, so nothing matters. That's not what we're saying here. I would invite you maybe as a little homework assignment, if you want, to examine, is there any such thing as nothing? Is there any such thing as nothing? Maybe we can talk about that another time. It's kind of related to the question, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it make any sound? It's related, and we're not going to go further down that rabbit hole. So here is what I would, so back up a little bit before I share that thought. All of the difficulties that we experience in our lives come not from the side of the object, but from our perception of the object, right? We perceive some objects to be fundamentally bad or unpleasant objects. And the problem that we have is that we don't say, oh, I perceive this person as being bad. No, it's just, they are bad. This is a bad person. We don't really make the distinction between it's our perception of the person and they're really being that way. We just go straight to, they really are that way. This is a bad person. That is the delusion, the confused state of mind called aversion, also known as anger. I perceive this person to be unpleasant or bad, and therefore the mind, the experience of anger or aversion arises. I've got aversion toward this person, so I want to get as far away from them as I can, maybe even harm them. So strong is my aversion. So that's one of what's referred to as the three root delusions, anger. Another of the second of the three root delusions is attachment. This person is good and pleasant, and I want to get closer to them, and I want to get closer to them, and I want to possess them, because the more I can get of this person, the happier they're going to make me. And that's kind of it's kind of the DNA of this delusion, really, is that this person is making me unhappy. This person is kind of has the miraculous wherewithal to make me happy without my mind having anything to do with it, right? My perception doesn't have anything to do. This bad person is making me unhappy. The other side of it, this good person is making me happy, right? They're making me happy. When, right, aversion and attachment, happiness and unhappiness, states of mind. States of mind, they arise from mind, so the causes must come from within the mind. What's the litmus test to know that there's really no such thing as a fundamentally bad person and a fundamentally good person? If there was such a thing as an inherently bad person, everybody would regard that person as being bad. And no such person exists, right? Pick your worst political prototype, right? The very worst, liberal, conservative, somewhere in between. There are people out there who find that person good and pleasant. If there were such a thing as a fundamentally, intrinsically good person, everybody would perceive that person the same way, good. No such person exists in the same way. Not only that, our perception changes with regard to the people. Like friends for us individually, right? Enemies become friends. Friends become enemies. Strangers become friends. Friends become strangers. Our mind is always changing with regard to the person. But at the time, it's like, oh my gosh, this person is fundamentally good. We don't even think words like fundamentally, intrinsically. It's like they are good, and I've got to get more of them and possess them and like never be separated from them. That's attachment. So the two root delusions, two of the three root delusions, aversion, attachment, and the third one is ignorance. And that leads us into teachings on emptiness. When we step back and are on our best existential behavior, we know that we know when we're in a good place, kind of a grounded place, we know that, right, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, right? It's sort of we know that qualitatively, it's my mind that creates the good qualities with this person qualitatively. And we know that it's my mind that creates the bad qualities, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Non-beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We understand that qualitatively, right? Emptiness takes it a step further and says, existentially, qualitatively, we create good people, good environments, bad environments, situations. Qualitatively, we create them with our mind, right? Emptiness says, even existentially, we create it with our mind. we bring phenomena themselves into existence with our mind. Existentially. And one of the most famous quotes of the Buddha, all that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we create the world. I think most of us have seen that on a refrigerator magnet or something somewhere. Yeah. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we create the world. Like create, as in existentially, we bring it into existence with our mind. Yeah. Really, really deep and powerful stuff, which presents us with possibilities to transform our existence. Right? So you Zoomers who have heard this before, and maybe some of you regulars who have heard me go on about my body, I apologize in advance, but it's like the best example I can come up with. Sometimes I feel like I'm being narcissistic, but I'm not really talking about my body. So when we sit here and you guys are looking at me and we see Jeff's body, kind of what you see is what you get. There's Jeff, there's his body, right? But when we examine a little bit more closely and go through something that's called the pointing out instructions, I might say, yeah, so tell me where, like point to me and tell me where my body is. And somebody might say, okay, here it is. And I would say, well, actually that's my arm. That's a part of my body. It's not my body itself. So, well, look here, the torso. No, that's actually chest. It's actually, if we like dig down a little more deeply, there's like skin, and underneath that is bone, and underneath that is our other bodily parts, down to marrow, and even the marrow is comprised of parts. No matter where we look, we can't find a fundamentally intrinsic, inherently existing. That word inherently is really key. We'll hear it over and over. We can't find an inherently existing body. All we can find are parts. And those parts have parts. And those parts have parts. And at some point, this entity called body disappears in its parts. It disappears. There's an absence or an emptiness of body. We're not saying there's nothing here. What we're saying is it's subtle stuff. So hang in there if you're sort of trying to refrain from scratching your head. In emptiness, all we can say is that there's a meaningful absence. What's really, really there? What's really there at the end of the day, where the rubber hits the road? What is there to this entity that we call Jeff's body? The answer is an absence of body, an emptiness of body. The thing that you thought you would find, a fundamentally, intrinsically existing body, disappears. It's empty of inherent existence. So here is like the last thought I'd like to share with you. Okay, actually two more thoughts, and I'll keep it brief because we're at time now. I've heard teachers present emptiness and say, oh my gosh, this is so deep and so profound and so hard to understand. It's going to take you years of studying and meditating to get it. And I disagree with that. I'm kind of like, this is one of those situations where my tendency towards sound bites is helpful. Okay. So here's my sound bite on emptiness. Okay. The fundamentally defining aspect of the thing is that it has no fundamentally defining aspect. right? The thing that defines it is the inability to define it. It's emptiness. The fundamentally, intrinsically defining aspect of body is that there is no fundamentally intrinsic aspect to it. That's what defines it, that absence. And from that, this is the last thought, I promise, from that possibilities arise, right? It's like, oh, I've been grasping at, for each of us, I've been grasping at this thing called my body, so strongly clinging to it, it's a made up idea. You Zoomers are familiar with that expression, made up ideas. We talk about it a lot on Mondays and Fridays. It's a made up idea. Therefore, I can make up new ideas. I can make up new ideas. Why? Because it's empty. Because it has no fundamentally defining aspect to it. So I can recreate myself. I can recreate my confused views of self and other. I can recreate notions of enemies and friends and strangers. I can recreate it all. It's so amazingly powerful, I think, and empowering. I love it. So that's kind of a quick presentation on emptiness. So preview for next week. There's ultimate truth and there's conventional truth. And conventional truth is actually a little bit harder to understand than ultimate truth, but we ought to talk about it because we need to understand so we say emptiness is not saying that there's nothing there. There's something there. Sorry, we can't even say there's something there. All we can say is there's not nothing there, right? Yet, here's this thing that is appearing before us, this entity called body, this not nothing here. What's up with that? That's what we're going to talk about a week from tonight. Conventional truth, appearances to mind. So we recorded this. It'll be posted on the YouTube channel if you want to go back and review. It's available to you free of charge. Thank you for being here, you guys. Oh, one quick announcement. Tomorrow night, Swami Purnat Mananda is going to be here at Lotus Center giving a free public talk from 7 to 8 tomorrow evening. So if you're free and so inclined and in the neighborhood, drop in. Would love to have you. Okay. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anne.
Jeff.
And Roberta.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, could I just share with you one other example that you can add that I learned in a philosophy class?
Yeah.
Where is the university? Here's the School of Business. Here's the School of Nursing. Here's the gym. Here's the dining hall. But where's the university?
Yeah.
The same concept.
Absolutely. Absolutely the same. They're different parts of the university.
Exactly.
Not the university itself.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway,
Perfect.
just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, you guys.
Bye-bye.